Here is a story about a young woman named Sarah who falls in love with a mysterious stranger named Jake. Sarah was walking home from work one night when she saw a man sitting on a bench in the park. He was reading a book and didn't seem to notice her. Sarah was drawn to him, and she couldn't help but stare. He was tall and handsome, with dark hair and blue eyes. He had a kind smile, and Sarah felt a warm feeling inside when she saw it. Sarah decided to sit down on the bench next to him. The man looked up from his book and smiled at her. "Hello," he said. "My name is Jake." "I'm Sarah," she said. They talked for a while, and Sarah learned that Jake was a writer. He had just moved to town, and he was looking for a place to live. Sarah offered to help him find a place, and they spent the next few days looking at apartments together. As they spent more time together, Sarah started to develop feelings for Jake. She was drawn to his intelligence, his sense of humor, and his kindness. But she was also scared. She had never been in love before, and she didn't know what to do. One night, Jake invited Sarah to dinner. They went to a small, intimate restaurant, and they talked for hours. Jake told Sarah about his dreams for the future, and Sarah told Jake about her hopes and fears. By the end of the night, Sarah knew that she was in love with Jake. Jake told Sarah that he felt the same way, and they kissed for the first time. It was a magical moment, and Sarah knew that she would never forget it. Sarah and Jake started dating, and they quickly fell in love. They were inseparable, and they spent every moment they could together. They went on walks in the park, they cooked dinner together, and they talked for hours about everything under the sun. One day, Jake proposed to Sarah, and she said yes. They were married a few months later, and they had a beautiful wedding. Sarah and Jake lived happily ever after. Here are the words, their meanings and examples from the story of Sarah and Jake. Inseparable, unable to be separated. Example, Sarah and Jake were inseparable. They spent every moment they could together. Meaning, the word inseparable means that two things cannot be separated. In the story, Sarah and Jake were so close that they were inseparable. They spent all their time together and could not imagine their lives without each other. Burgeoning, growing or developing rapidly. Example, their relationship was burgeoning. They knew that they were meant to be together. Meaning, the word burgeoning means that something is growing or developing rapidly. In the story, Sarah and Jake's relationship was burgeoning. They were falling in love quickly and knew that they were meant to be together. Fateful, having a significant or determining effect on events. Example, the day they met was fateful. It changed their lives forever. Meaning, the word fateful means that something has a significant or determining effect on events. In the story, the day Sarah and Jake met was fateful. It was the day they fell in love, and their lives changed forever. Enthralled, captivated or fascinated by something. Example, Sarah was enthralled by Jake's intelligence and wit. She couldn't help but stare at him. Meaning, the word enthralled means that someone is captivated or fascinated by something. In the story, Sarah was enthralled by Jake. She was so impressed by his intelligence and wit that she couldn't help but stare at him. Enigmatic, mysterious or puzzling. Example, Jake's enigmatic smile made Sarah wonder what he was thinking. She couldn't quite figure him out. Meaning, the word enigmatic means that something is mysterious or puzzling. In the story, Jake's smile was enigmatic. Sarah couldn't quite tell what he was thinking or feeling. Here are some grammar. Subject-verb agreement. The subject of a sentence must agree with the verb and number. For example, Sarah was walking home from work. Because the subject is singular, Sarah, the verb must also be singular, was. Pronoun antecedent agreement. A pronoun must agree with its antecedent in number, gender, and case. For example, Sarah saw him sitting on a bench because the antecedent of the pronoun him is the singular male noun Jake. Subject-object agreement. The subject of a sentence must agree with the object of a verb in number. For example, Sarah met Jake because the subject is singular, Sarah. The object must also be singular, Jake. Direct object versus indirect object. A direct object receives the action of the verb. An indirect object tells to whom or what the action of the verb is directed. For example, Sarah gave Jake a book because the direct object is the book. The action of the verb, gave, is directed to the book. The indirect object is Jake. The book is given to Jake.